shelters and rescues always have a great selection of animals looking for new homes. Hi, my name is Emily Cat, and I'm here to talk to you today about why you should adopt animals and not shop for them. What is adopting animals? Why you should adopt animals, and how you can adopt animals are the three main points I'm going to be talking to you about today. So what is adopting? Well, adopting is adopting from places like shelters where animals go when they are forgotten, abandoned, or uncared for. 6.8 million animals end up in shelters every year, like cats, dogs, and everything else. So why should you be adopting? Well, you'd be saving the life that is of that animal, such as a dog or a cat. You can also break the cycle of overpopulation. If you buy from a breeder, there are multiple animals being bred so they can be sold, but they just end up being overpopulated because of the cost. You can also help stop animal cruelty from happening because you would be getting the animal you want, not the animal that you think you want. You can also stop mass breeding, so it would shut down puppy mills and breeders that are not qualified to be breeding animals. It also costs way less. 25% of pets are purebred. So even though you are paying a lot of money for a mixed breed, you can also still get a purebred animal from a shelter. And it's still a lot cheaper than if you were to go to a breeder. Because of breeders, there are every year 3 million animals are euthanized, and that's 3 million out of the 6 to 8 million every year. If you think about that, that's over half. Breeders are also really spendy. Like I said, if you adopt from an animal shelter, you cut the cost basically in half. You can spend anywhere from $500 to $3,000 depending on the breed you want, the buyer you buy it from, and how many are at that breeder. We must fight against the spirit of unconscious cruelty with which we treat animals. Animals suffer such as we. True humanity doesn't allow us to impose such sufferings on them. It is our duty to make the world recognize it. Until we extend our circle of compassion to all living things, humanity will not find peace. This is one of my favorite quotes that you see in almost every humane society that you go to. I know that the Humane Society of the Palouse have this quote up on their walls. This is a puppy mill, so when you're buying from a breeder, this is usually what you are buying them from. The issue with this, if you can't see by just looking at the picture, is mass breeding. Each one of those cages have 5 to 10 animals inside them at all times. They usually look like this. So you have overpopulation, they're unsanitary. As you can see, it's not a very clean cage. There's no room for them to run, and they're very poor quality animals. And what I mean by that is they usually have a lot of birth defects, they don't live very long, and they're uncomfortable. So adopting one animal won't save the world, but for that animal, you're saving the world. In Dr. Seuss's book, What Pet Should I Get? It's a children's book, but it teaches children how to pick an animal and how to take care of it and knowing the responsibility of what you're asking for. So how can you adopt? Well, you can look at some questionnaires by filling them out. You go to a humane society. If you want more information, you can look at the handouts. You fill out a questionnaire. If you're a good fit, they'll schedule an interview. You have to be prepared for these. You have to know what questions they're going to ask. Do you have a fit home? Are you capable of taking care of it? Are you capable of giving the time it requires to take care of that animal? And then after that, you can get your pet if you qualify for it. They make sure that each person has the right qualities to take care of an animal, and all the funds usually go to rescue programs and other things. So with that, you should all adopt a dog like this cute one right here. And I talked to you about the dogs and the cages. But I went over what is adopting animals from shelters, why you should adopt, and how you can adopt. These are my references. And remember, adopt, don't shop. Are there any questions? Cameron.
Do you have any of your own dogs from shelters?
I have 3 dogs from shelters and I have an ESA cat. The one thing I didn't mention is animal shelters are really good for getting ESA animals, emotional support animals,
Okay.
because they go through trainings and a bunch of programs to make sure they can also care for their owner. Maybe you had a question?
How much does it usually cost to adopt an animal from a shelter?
My cat was only $150 after getting spayed, shots, and everything else, and my dogs were about $200.